All right, so the year was 1985. That's when Back to the Future came out. Michael J. Fox, right? Ripping in a DeLorean through a parking lot just like this to get Back to the Future. Well, I never thought in my lifetime that I would actually start seeing cars that come without actual keys and vehicles like this one over my shoulder, the 2025 Lucid Air sedan, and this is the base model, that has a 0 to 60 sub 3 seconds. I mean, in 1985, the DeLorean was futuristic and now it looks old school, but when you fast forward to this is the epitome of what the future of the auto industry has. We're gonna dig in, we're gonna show you guys all the features, and let's just take a line from Doug DeMuro and the quirks of the 2025 Lucid Air base model sedan, not the Sapphire. All right, you guys are checking out Chasing Horsepower. So the Lucid name is one that most consumers are not all that familiar with, but they are becoming more and more accustomed to seeing this name on the road, and that's because the brand's been out now for a while. Lucid is an American electric automaker, and they're based in, I want to call it Casa Grande, but everyone internally with the brand says it's Casa Grande. You don't say the DE at the end. Casa Grande in Arizona. And that's where they manufacture these vehicles. And they take a lot of pride in that. They take a lot of pride in being an electric automaker based in the United States. They qualify for all the federal tax incentives and rebates because these vehicles are very much American. Imagine taking a lot of the best engineers in the industry and bringing them together with a brand like Lucid. So let's talk a little bit about the exterior design. This is definitely a futuristic look. I love the simplicity of the front end, and when you look at the side profile, I do think a lot of Porsche Taycan. But you know, just look at this. Right across the front, you got the Lucid name. You got LED lights that when you turn the car on and off will span across the front. You'll see this beautiful silhouette of lighting. You've got all your LiDAR and your sensors here on the front of the vehicle, and then you've got a very simple hood. I think the hood design is part of what I really like about it because you don't have an engine under the hood, right? One thing I want to point out, the number one word that comes to mind with Lucid as a whole is power. Power from a performance standpoint, and literally power from the standpoint of everything on the inside is going to require you to push a button. I mean, lifting the hood up, got to push a button on the inside. Not even a button, it's a computerized button. Rear deck lid, same thing. You want to adjust your mirrors, it's all power, electronically powered. We'll show you more of that on the inside. As we kind of make our way down, you got 19-inch wheels on the side. You know that this is rolled on, you run on Michelin Pilots. I think they're cool. This is where the electric industry is going, giving you these kind of very flat looking wheels. I always tap on them. Plastic center, actual metal wheel right here, steel, but you got plastic inserts on them. Something that I like to just point out, right? You're paying $100,000 for a car like this. You kind of want to know what you're getting. As you make your way down, there's just some really cool looks on the side of this vehicle. I think their designers have done a fantastic job. You got your electric port right here. Your mirrors are not monochromatic, meaning they're off color. So you've got the almost sapphire look. We'll talk about the paint in a minute. And then you got the black up on top with a floating roof line. I'm going to point out things that I really like and things that bother me a little bit with this vehicle. This window is so small. It gives the car a sleek and performance-oriented stance, but when I'm sitting on the inside, and at my height at 6'3", I find myself banging my head every time I get out of the vehicle. It's just like, right there. Camera on the side for your 3D view. I love the handles on this. This is pretty cool, by the way. If I walk away from the vehicle because it's all motion detected, or it's a proximity sensor, if I walk away, this is going to close. So if I start to walk away and the car thinks that I'm done with it, that's going to seal up at some point, as you can see right there. So, and then when I want to reapproach the vehicle, I start walking back up. There's a little bit of a delay, which I kind of find interesting. This time it did it pretty quick, but I've noticed over the course of test driving this for a week, sometimes the proximity is a little bit off, but overall, I think it's pretty fantastic. Again, very simple, seamless, soft design, so no hard lines, just a very smooth look, carrying all the way down. Same, got the Air logo right here on the rear of the vehicle, says Touring Edition. We make our way around to the rear. Man, I gotta be honest, there's just a lot of great design with this vehicle, and I usually leave my full synopsis at the end, but I'm gonna hedge my bet on it and tell you guys, I really like this car. I like the design. It's been fun to drive over the course of a week. It's the mild little spoiler look here on the rear just to create a little bit of rear downforce. You've got lights built up here into the rear deck lid as well. You've got them here, and then just to give you a quick peek in the trunk, plenty enough room in the back for 2 suitcases if you're headed to the airport, and then I'll just swing around. Kind of cool little cutout in here where you can tuck your power cord away. This thing came in fantastic, and I charged at the house just using a regular RV 50 amp. I mean, I got this thing charged up within a day. It was pretty cool, and I know it's not a fast charger, but pretty unique. And then just a little bit of extra storage here as well if you want to tuck some things away. Look how deep that is. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's because you don't have exhaust in the rear of the vehicle, right? So you remove all the traditional components that are part of the drivetrain, because the drivetrain on this, which we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail, is only 67 pounds. It's tiny. So, you know, as I just step back and I look at the vehicle, I think it's got a really cool look, man. I love the arch of that C-pillar in the rear. I think it's very sophisticated, very sporty, very luxurious from an outside aesthetic standpoint. When I look at it, man, it looks pretty cool. The only thing I'd possibly change out are the wheels because they're just not my style, but I get why they did it. You want it to be aerodynamic, you want that drag coefficient to be down, and you want this thing to get the best MPGe that you could possibly get. All right, so as I mentioned, everything's all about power with this vehicle. When I get inside, I'm just gonna hit up on the dash here, the charging, and I'm gonna go to the vehicle opening. Boom, you can open up the rear, you can open up the charging port on the side, which I'll do as well. You can open up the rear deck lid, which I'll also open up. So now everything's opened up. You got class-leading cargo capacity with your frunk up here, which I think is pretty cool, right? I put my work bag in here every day just for fun. And then check this out. I mean, you want to talk about storage. They're really playing with you. They're like, oh, here's your storage. And then you open this up and you're like, holy smokes, I could fit a carry-on bag right in there. That is a lot of space. And then to shut it, easy push button, closes fast, which I really like. You've got your port over here for your charging. And of course, you know, we think about charging systems in the market right now, the North American Charging Standard, right? You're gonna wanna be able to fast charge this thing when you're out there on the open highway to get yourself back out on the road. As we come all the way to the rear, we showed you this earlier, but again, I just wanted to point it out again. Everything is power-based with this vehicle. So overall, I think it's pretty cool. Class-leading frunk up there. Everything is based on the powering system of the vehicle. And the cool part is once I get inside, I can control everything inside the vehicle, and I control it from buttons on the inside of the front hood and the rear deck lid. All right, let's check out the interior. Welcome to the inside of the Lucid Air, and just like the outside, the inside is also fantastic. When you test drive vehicles like I do, there's so many things that I love and I hate about vehicles, and just for due diligence, I'm going to point out everything that I like. I'm also going to point out everything that I think they can do a better job with. So I'm going to start with the very first thing that is my favorite feature on the vehicle and the thing that I hate the most on the vehicle, which is the glass ceiling, right? So your entire roof line from here all the way down to the front is all glass, and I think it is absolutely amazing, awesome. I find myself taking my visors and pushing them out of the way just so I have this pure sheet of glass. The only problem is, on a hot sunny day, that sun's coming right through there, and it's hitting me in the face, and it sucks. And they don't have self-adjusting tint. So the tint just starts right about where the ceiling line would roll, and it comes all the way over here. I also feel like the visors could have been actually put a little bit higher up, because I kind of feel like I'm seeing a little bit of the visor as I drive. So I'd love to see these come up a little bit more. So it's my favorite feature, the glass. It's also my worst, but the good news is you can just option for a regular roof line. You can do that as well, or you could buy this, and they have inserts from Lucid that will fit in. So kind of like convertible top. Top goes down, top goes up. You can put the inserts in to cover up and protect yourself from the sunshine. All right, we make our way down into the cockpit of the vehicle. You know, there's just a lot to talk about, a lot of fun stuff. Let's start with 34 inches of glass right here of screen. Real estate, pretty cool. Apple CarPlay already integrated in. One of my favorite features with this vehicle is the fact that with my key fob right here, Proximity sensor, I walk over, there's no start button. So I don't have to start the vehicle. When I get inside, it automatically connects, automatically turns on, and is ready to go. And that's what I think is, I mean, just even that, right? The car's not on, but it's on. Be able to put my window down just to get a little extra breeze in here while we're doing the video. So you got a lot of real estate up here, 34 inches of screen. And then on the left side over here are all your traditional button style features. So down here on your dash down below, you normally have a switch, a button, a knob for your windshield wipers, for your high beam lights. All of that has been eliminated. Clean real estate up on the dash, and that's because it's all integrated here into the side of this computer screen. So if I want to turn on my windshield wiper, I'll just show you. There's just a button over here. I hit that and my windshield wiper goes, and then I can turn it off. There are parts to this that I like. There are parts to this that I don't like. For me, it's all about proximity, meaning how far do I have to reach? You know, the knob here is a little bit easier than like leaning forward for this, but it's not a big deal. I can unlock the car from here. I can lock the car from here. I can open the charging hood, the charging door from here, the rear deck lid from here, all fantastic. I can choose from different themes to give me a different driving experience on the inside of the vehicle for the main focal point of my entertainment screen. So if I come down here, I can change the colors and the themes on the inside of the vehicle. And once I get moving, all of this stuff will change. You can see the colors are matching. I go to Inspire. This has got mountainous and blue. This turns to the mountainous and blue. I go to Space, kind of the same thing. It's going to go gray. That gray is going to fall in line up top. Before I get into this amazing system right here and we move away from the 34 inches of screen space, let's talk about the steering wheel. Pluses and minuses, it's a very simplified Lucid steering wheel. Not a lot of buttons. I can control my music, my cruise control, and then you've got these kind of interesting turbine looking, I guess, dials is what we'll call them, with button inputs. So I can control the music and turn it up and down. So if I go all the way up like this, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That just got me to halfway. It just, I like it, but I think I prefer to have the buttons that show the plus, the minus. It's just a little bit more intuitive for me. And then your dials up here, you got your drive, so reverse, neutral, drive, park. And then you can also control your windshield wipers up here as well, along with your turn signal indicators. So they're giving you a couple different options. If you want to stay a little bit old school, you can do that with the shift knob up here, or you can go up to the actual entertainment screen. All right, you guys want to see something really cool? Tanner, you haven't seen this yet. You ready? Watch this. Bye-bye. Put your purse in here, valuables in here, things that you want to hide away in here, and then you just touch it and it comes right back out. I just think that's the coolest thing ever. A lot of things to control on this. So you got your vehicle preferences right here. The openings, meaning your hood, your rear deck lid, your charging door, your seat controllers, your massaging seats, your themes, and then charging. So everything's in here. Right now we're currently sitting at 300 miles because we charged it for today's test. You can kind of precondition the battery, set charging limits, all this kind of fun stuff in here. The openings, as noted, seats, a lot of different ways to adjust the seats in here. So you don't really have, you have the knobs down here to adjust your seats, but you also have the ability to make the adjustments from the computer screen, which is kind of cool. You got full massaging seats. I'm going to tell you right now, the deep massage is fantastic. In fact, while I'm doing the rest of this video, I'm just going to leave the massaging seat on because it's just that good. I love to talk about ventilation. You've got 4 vents right here up on your main dash. I like to talk about those because, man, especially with this glass up top, you're going to be cooling down. I did notice that when we were driving on a hot sunny day and the car had been sitting for a while, it takes a little bit longer to cool down because of this glass. It's really got to force all that heat out. Open up your windows, push all that heat out, get the cool air, get that cool air rolling. So kind of cool to be able to play around with this whole system here, but I just love that ability to tuck it away and put stuff hidden behind your console piece. 2 cup holders right here. You've got wireless induction on the driver's side. I think this is actually kind of interesting. And I didn't like it the first week or the first few days, but now I really like it. It actually, you tuck your phone in. Like, it takes a lot of pressure, but that's how you put your phone into wireless induction mode. A little bit more storage here, a little bit more storage in here. Not a lot of glove box space, which I'm okay with. Most people just throw junk in there anyway. And then the seats, you know, pretty comfortable for the most part. Dual stitching, multiple ways to adjust them. I do like the ability to do this extension piece here for taller people. Makes a lot of sense. I played around with this one for a while. I was like, man, how do I open up my glove box? And I kind of was trying to figure that whole one out. So if you go to the openings, you'll see it's not in here. You go to your vehicle settings. If you go to your main home page, you're going to see the glove box right here. And then your glove box opens up as well. So no manual version of the glove box. Overall design on the inside, very luxurious. A lot of recycled components on the inside. I love the aesthetic features up here on top. They've done a great job building the inside of this vehicle. So let's check out that second row seating and see what the design is, because I got a feeling you're really going to like it. Second row seating in most vehicles is honestly just kind of a pain in the ass for me. Not in the Lucid Air. You got to see this. No transmission, because it's electric, means there's no hump in the middle. Look at all the room in here. I mean, I could go on a long trip in this. And that's what's awesome, right? This seat is all the way back. Haven't touched it. And there's still enough room back here. They just absolutely did a fantastic job with this second row seating. The seats, how comfortable are they? I still think Mercedes kind of wins in the seat category. They make the best seats, but these are comfortable. Like, I mean, I would be fine. I've got plenty of headroom right here. The glasses, look how much glass space there is. I mean, this thing is so futuristic. It just gives you a vibe. And I think that's part of one of the takeaways, is that the vibe is something that just makes this so different and so unique. Futuristic, lots of glass, lots of cool technology, and tons of performance. What do you guys think? I think the back row looks awesome. By the way, one small thing before we go, you got to pass through as well. So you know what? You want to take your skis and throw them in there? You can do that with the Lucid Air. All right, so before we jump in and talk about the performance behind the wheel, let's just kind of throw out some numbers. What's really interesting and unique about this vehicle is that there are a lot of numbers that correlate with performance, horsepower, 0 to 60. Whether you go with Grand Touring, Touring, Sapphire, Pure, there's all these crazy numbers out there. But the one that we're test driving, which is the Touring, has 620 horsepower. And check this out, crazy little fun fact. The electric motor itself is 67 pounds. You could like literally put it in a suitcase. It's that small and lightweight. And the differential that's used is a tiny little thing about the size of a tennis ball. That's the differential. And that's what allows you to have all this free space, because you don't have a transmission, right? Your 0 to 60 is about 3.4 seconds. If you go with the Sapphire, which is a $200,000 like fully high-end vehicle, you're gonna be sitting at like 1.8 seconds, some crazy number like that, with more than 1,000 horsepower. But overall, you don't need that. You just need what this offers right here, that 620 horsepower, which is crazy fast. So let's get in, let's get behind the wheel and talk about what makes this thing tick as we're out there ripping it on the streets. All right, so welcome to the driving experience of the 2025 Lucid Air. There's only one thing to do when you first get in the vehicle, is put your head against the headrest. Why? Because that right there. All right, so one thing about electric vehicles is the incredible amount of torque, the instant electrification, putting the tires to pavement and going fast, right? 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, 620 horsepower. It's got dual electric motors. It's all-wheel drive. Like, this is the epitome of the electric vehicle driving experience with Lucid as a whole. And because it's an American car company, the engineering team have spent so many quality hours ensuring that the vehicle itself is competitive. You want to compete against Tesla? You can do it with the Sapphire. You want to compete in the SUV category? You can do it with the Grand Touring Edition. That's what makes this vehicle so unique, is that you have the ability to truly drive this vehicle. It's a driver's vehicle. You've got incredible performance off the line, blistering speed. So once we get past all of that, what's the overall driving experience inside the vehicle? Well, let me start with the luxury side, right? If you want to be different and stand out amongst the crowd, sure, you can get a BMW, you can get a Mercedes, but why not get a Lucid? This is an American car company. It's an American success story. The company is, and the vehicles are made in Casa Grande, Arizona. And that says something, right? In an industry that is geo-global, right? We think about a global auto industry. what makes Lucid different is that it's an American car company. They qualify for all of the tax rebates, right? The federal tax rebate, up to $7,500 off the cost of the vehicle because it's an American vehicle. The design, like we talked about at the beginning of the video, carries over to the inside. So you feel this abundance of luxury, but not in a in-your-face way. It's actually quite subtle. Lots of dash space, lots of creature comforts, lots of technology on the inside. The 34-inch screen is, you know, it's perfectly appointed. And one of our video team members, Tanner, was asking me about the screen and had made a comment. He said, like, is the screen one of the cool tech features? Everyone in the industry has a big screen, but I actually like the fact that this one's manageable. It's not in your face. It's the perfect size. Again, a testament to the engineering team at Lucid for coming up with something that's just a bit different, right? They're not going to the status quo of what they think consumers want. They're listening to what consumers ask for, and they're putting it inside this vehicle. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the driving experience. So because it's electric, you got great performance. We've already talked about that. The suspension is high quality. It's comfortable. Taking this first turn right here on a backcountry road, you can kind of feel, boom, you get in there on that turn, right? It hugs, and that's because the performance and the engineering isn't just regarding electrification, it's also regarding the suspension. So you feel that on the inside. It's low to the ground, it's sporty, and I could easily make the argument that although this is a four-door sedan, it's a four-door sports sedan. So if you want to compete against Porsche and their Taycan, you can do that with this. You could put this out against a Ford Mustang, and honestly, you'd shred it off the line. So again, it's all about that entire experience. I'm going to tell you some things that I don't like about the driving experience as well, because I want to be fair. So the lane departure warning technology, because this has the dream drive experience, I don't like it. It's not exclusive to Lucid. I don't like lane departure warning technology in general. I don't need Big Brother telling me to stay within my line. I know how to drive a car. I've been driving, you know, for 30 years. So I don't need the car to tell me. I also don't like the pay attention sensor that goes off every time I pick up my coffee or my phone in the vehicle. So if I hold this here long enough, or I start looking away, the car is going to start squawking at me to pay attention. And I don't like that. I think it's something that automakers need to allow us to turn off. My point is, there can be too much technology on the inside of vehicles. And with this driving experience, those are my two knocks. The pay attention is a frustration, is a big frustration for me. And the lane departure warning, every time I get even close to a center line, it's nudging me back. I know how to drive a car. I don't need to be nudged back. But to stay positive, the overall driving experience with this is awesome. Every parking lot that we pulled into, people want to ask us questions, and they want to look closer. And that's because Americans are becoming more comfortable talking about electric vehicles, but they're becoming more comfortable and patriotic when talking about vehicles like this Lucid Air. I also wanted to talk a little bit about technology while we're driving the vehicle. I also wanted to talk a little bit about technology as we're driving the Lucid Air. So, sitting in a parking lot and talking about the 34-inch screen and the iPad-inspired screen down below, relatively easy, right? We're not moving. But now that we're out on the road, I did want to point out the fact, again, that I love the iPad screen, but the functionality, you have, it's forcing your brain to think harder as opposed to easier when it comes to changing certain features or functions inside the vehicle. So if I wanted to adjust my mirrors right now, I've got to look away from the road. I got to come down into the vehicle itself. I got to hit the button that shows the mirrors. I then got to come over, and now I can start adjusting my mirrors. I think it's a little bit dangerous, to be perfectly honest, is that you have all this functionality in here. I like the tech, but it can also be problematic if your brain isn't turned on telling you what to do. So one thing we want to talk about as well is the various driving characteristics of the Lucid Air. So down on your iPad infotainment screen or your control screen, you have the option to select the different type of driving modes. So you've got smooth, you got swift, and you got sprint. So I'm in sprint right now. I'm gonna come off that and I'm gonna go to smooth. That adjusts the accelerator. I normally call it a gas pedal, but it just softens your input, right? So when you hit it, it's not hitting it as hard. Then you go to swift, it's gonna take it up a level, right? It's gonna increase your regen braking, which we haven't really talked about as well, but this has regen braking on it. I absolutely love it. It also has one pedal, which a lot of people hate. Me, I love one pedal. And for those that are watching this video and don't know what one pedal is, so one pedal is the ability to just use the accelerator without using a brake pedal. So this entire week I've been driving this car, I never used my brakes, not once. Haven't used them at a single point. I think it's the coolest piece of modern technology that's ever been brought to the industry. One pedal. All I gotta do is use the accelerator, because if I wanna stop, I just take my foot off the gas. That's it, look at that, take it off the accelerator, car stops itself. Your brain will start to subconsciously tell you when you're coming to a stoplight how far I need to start removing or pulling my foot off the accelerator. And that's because the engineering team have married the general inputs of a brake pedal, right? Brake pedal and coming off the accelerator. So when you're using one pedal, it mirrors the exact input of what it would be like to brake with the vehicle. I just think it's masterful technology. So one of the most amazing features of the Lucid Air, and any electric vehicle for that matter, is the fact that you have a 0 to 60 that is 3.4 seconds, right? That's blistering fast for a four-door sedan. So let's just show you what it feels like. I tell everybody, put your head back. We are in the sport mode. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Man, that's good. I mean, it just flies off the line. And that is just an amazing testament to what electric vehicle technology can do. It's absolutely a lot of fun to drive. All right, so we've had a lot of fun test driving the Lucid Air, the base model sedan. This one's the Touring, so it's got some additional features on it, like the Dream Drive that we were talking about. Lucid's here to stay. Like, other automakers have kind of come and gone in the EV space. Others are struggling, but this is a brand that's gonna go somewhere. I don't see any issue with Lucid continuing to chip away and chip away and chip away at the greater EV market. The issue is always gonna be price, right? So you've got a rough starting price around $80,000 for the very, very baseline model, and then you can trim it all the way up. Like this one, the base is $79,000, but prices tested is $102,000. So we're talking about a higher end luxury vehicle. You're talking Mercedes pricing, BMW pricing, probably not in that Porsche Taycan pricing because it's just significantly higher. But you know, if you're looking for a vehicle, you want to be an individual, you want to be different, then this is going to be a vehicle that you're going to want to consider. I really wasn't expecting to enjoy it all that much, and it turned out I really liked the vehicle. So that's where you're at, right? $102,000 is your total price on this vehicle. I dig it. I really enjoyed it. I think Lucid's going to do a lot of great things as they continue to bring out newer vehicles in the marketplace. All right, I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. If you're not following along, man, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below and follow our other social channels at Chasing Horsepower. All right, that's it. 2025, what do you guys think? Drop it in the comments below, your thoughts on this all-new vehicle.